Not on for a reason? It's supposed to give the uplighting. Welcome to our Wednesday meditation. And for those of you that are in the sanctuary, if you would like to have a person prayed over, their name called out when we call out the names, you can just write their name on a piece of paper and put it into the prayer box while we're doing what we're doing, or while Jack is talking. I mean, he's used to people coming up and putting something into the prayer box, so no problem. Okay, we're going to do a chant to some incredible background music that you just relax, and I'll sing a line, and it's just a few words, and then you repeat. And I'll do the repeats with you since we don't have a bunch of people here. But it's very, very simple, very, very simple chants. Go within, go within, deep within, deep within, go within, go within, deep within, deep within, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out, breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out, be still, be still, feel no peace, no peace, no love, no love, no peace, no peace, no love, no love. Shalom, 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 shalom. Go within, go within, deep within, deep within. Breathe in, breathe in, breathe out, breathe out. Be still, be still. Feel God, feel God. No peace, no peace, no love, no love. Shalom, 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 shalom. God within is always present. 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 Source of all life 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 is always present. Shalom, 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 shalom. Go within, go within, deep within. no peace, no peace, no love, no love. Shalom, 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 shalom. God within is always present. 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 Shalom. 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 Shalom.
Good evening, everyone. I received a phone call a couple of days back from someone who said, "You keep giving this affirmation that everything we see is God. How can that be so when there is so much evil in the world?" So I related that's not exactly the affirmation I use, but it's close enough. And I thought I would help everybody understand it with a story, a true story of my life. When I was 17 years old, my mind had come to believe that life was just a rat race, and the best of life was taken by the biggest rats. So I had a very negative outlook on life. And in the neighborhoods that I grew up in as a kid, my peers in those neighborhoods, and even the people, most of them living there that I had any awareness of, had no compunction about stealing. It was kind of an accepted idea that everybody steals, and that especially people that have a great deal of means or material wealth, they steal too, but they steal bigger. So stealing was considered okay if you could get away with it. At age 17, my 49 Mercury needed a fuel pump. And in the junkyard that wasn't too far away, the outskirts of Jersey City, there was about 4 or 5 acres of junk cars. But it was a legitimate junkyard where they sold whatever parts you needed. Only some of us were aware of the fact that there was a hole in the back fence. There was a high fence. It was about 9 feet high, and it was pretty precarious to climb over it. And that junkyard at that time was run by a gnarly guy, a gnarly old guy, who, I mean, he didn't look like much except you figured he was up in years, he couldn't move that fast. And there was about 4, maybe 5 acres of cars, and they had them according to make. There was areas for Plymouths, and areas for Buicks, and areas for Pontiacs, and areas for Oldsmobiles, and areas for Chevys, and areas for Fords. So depending on your car, you could go to that particular area and find one of the year, make, and model that you were looking for to get the parts you needed for your car. Well, I went through, so you had to go in, there was only one entrance into it, legitimate entrance. And the gnarly guy was at the desk there, and you had to give him your driver's license. And so then you went into the yard, got what you needed, came back out, and paid for whatever parts you took, and he gave you your license back. But I went in through the hole in the back fence, and you got to understand a junkyard like that, it was nothing but old broken parts, rusted stuff, glass everywhere, old tires and rims and old cars, junked, rusting away. So when I went up to the Mercury that I wanted to get the fuel pump from, I looked, and to tell the truth, the office where the gnarly old guy was about maybe 30 or 40 yards away, quite a distance. And there was so much junk to get through that I would definitely hear him coming if he decided to come out and find me. And so I felt pretty comfortable leaning over the open Mercury and, taking the fuel pump. I had a screwdriver and a wrench, and I was pulling this fuel pump out from the Mercury. And then all of a sudden, my legs collapsed. I had this terrible pain run right through the back of my legs, and I collapsed right on the ground. And the old guy was right there behind me with a baseball bat. He had hit me right behind the knees with the baseball bat, pretty hard, and in fact, I was incapable of getting up. And he started this whole thing about, how'd you get in here? What are you doing here? And then he said, show me. Well, I couldn't even get up. I couldn't even walk to show him the hole in the back fence. I had to crawl through the glass and the junk and the garbage and everything else that was there. So you can imagine why it's such a vivid memory for me. But as I was crawling in front of him and afraid he was going to hit me with that bat in the head, I turn around every now and then and just check him out, say, hey, take it easy. I'll pay for whatever it is you want me to pay for. But he was preaching to me, not in a really classic preaching sense. He was saying, when are you going to grow up, you idiot? And he using more explicit words than that. What right do you think you can come in here and steal from my junkyard? And who told you how to get in here? And, who put that hole in the fence? And all this on and on and on. When are you going to get a real job and get a real life? Or do you want to be in jail the rest of your life? And then he kept on and on about that. Smarten up, son, smarten up. And I crawled all the way back to the hole in the fence, and he saw it. And he wanted to blame me. I said, look, I'll pay you for the fence. He said, get out of here. Just get out of here. I don't want to see you back here again. If any of your friends show up, I'm going to crack somebody's skull. I'll probably hang them on the fence. So it wasn't a good day for me. And I crawled back through the hole in the fence and made my way to my father's car that I had borrowed for the project. And of course, at that time, I really resented this guy. And I don't know. I believed at the time that, it was just bad luck. And of course, as I got older in life, it seemed more and more that there might have been some cosmic thing involved. And I used to even think in terms when I was gambling, about this cosmic force that would ever put you on a winning streak or a losing streak, and you had to give thanks for the winning streak, and you had to drop some money in the Catholic box if you had a good day winning in the Catholic box at the church you never went to. But this is the kind of thoughts that ran through my head at the time. But as I got older and lived a while, it became apparent to me that these things happen by divine appointment, that it was a necessary lesson. And although I didn't give up stealing just because of that incident, but I never did steal from that junkyard again, because I thought to myself, it was impossible for this lumbering old guy to have made his way across 30 or 40 yards of junk without me hearing it. So all I could figure was that God had teleported him right up behind me so he could get his best shot at the back of my legs. And so it just seemed like there was this divine force. Either that or my hearing was shut down for the time I was taking that fuel pump. And but then as I got into the work a little bit, it became more and more apparent. And I got into the work through the Edgar Cayce Foundation. But it became more and more apparent to me that the guidance I received came directly from insights, from guiding insights to do this or don't do this, to do that or don't do that. I see a lot of people angst about making a decision. Oh my God, what should I do? I don't know what to do. I keep going back and forth. Well, what they're trying to do is trying to figure it out through the thinking process, which is usually flawed in many ways. We're trying to figure things out. You really need spiritual insight. And these insights that I spoke about mostly came, you could define them actually as guiding insights of the still small voice of conscience. So when I was getting into the work, I had I would be tuned into, well, this doesn't seem like a thing to do or I should do. And so it was the beginning of the purification of my mind, which was, as I said, I'd come to believe that life is just a rat race. And it wasn't any big deal to be as big a rat as you had to be to get by or get where you needed. So that's what was the guiding truth or the beginning of the purification of my mind. However, and I want to share a small revelation here. Life, which is God expressing, allows us to awaken in relationship to our experiences, allows us to awaken to our relationship to our experiences. And we awaken to a basic truth, which is that the world is merely the outpicturing of our own personal, self-centered beliefs. The reason why the world may appear to so many people, as it did to me back then, as being a terrible rat race, that was just the outpicturing of my own personal self-centered belief. And that's the way the world appeared to me. And of course, the great teachers and masters down through the ages have tried to apprise us of that truth and to get us to recognize that truth. I'm going to share with you from A Course in Miracles right now. Oh, incidentally, if you hear a little cracking in my voice, you can blame it on my dog, Kaya. Yesterday, I was taking my dog for our usual morning walk run into the woods behind my house through the mountains. And he disappeared. He sometimes disappears for 3-5 minutes. I give him some leeway to go up into the hills, but usually I can turn and spot wherever he is and what he's up to. Sometimes he's looking to catch a rabbit or something. But this time he was gone for about 15 or 20 minutes. And I was really concerned because when that happens, I shout for him. And I keep shouting, and I don't stop. Because he doesn't have any awareness that there are lions up in that area where I am. So when he was gone for about 15 to 20 minutes, my voice was just about shot. I mean, they could hear me in Denver calling for him. But I finally saw him coming up through. He had gone all the way down the other side of the mountain. I don't know why he did that. He never did that before. So now you get this, my voice cracking like this. Here's A Course in Miracles. This is the old text, page 415, explaining the human dilemma of the mind. Projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you, it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. As a man thinketh, so does he perceive. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Perception is a result and not a cause. And that is why order of difficulty in miracles is meaningless. Everything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. Nothing perceived without it means anything. And where there is no meaning, there is chaos. Damnation is your judgment on yourself, and this you will project upon the world. This is like the clearest of insights. You wouldn't need very much to know what the spiritual journey is all about. I'm going to share this with you again. Projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more than that. But though it is no more than that, it is not less. Therefore, to you it is important. It is the witness to your state of mind, the outside picture of an inward condition. Therefore, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. Perception is a result and not a cause. And that is why order of difficulty in miracles is meaningless. Everything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. Nothing perceived without it means anything. And where there is no meaning, there is chaos. Damnation is your judgment on yourself, and this you will project upon the world. This idea that anything looked upon with vision is healed and holy. This is the big hurdle in our spiritual journey. Getting to this place where our desire for understanding is so much greater than all of our tiny ego-centered desires to be right, to be considered smart, to be considered wise, or anything else. All of that becomes just meaningless. to the idea, I really want to know what I'm doing here in life. And this vision does not come from ourselves. When we start the spiritual journey, everybody's trying to figure it out. That's understandable. We're using the same limited, thought process to try to figure out how to be in this divine state of consciousness that the masters talk about. But we can't pull it off. We cannot pull it off. It comes more and more to an incremental surrender to this that the Course in Miracles calls the Holy Spirit. There is this divine intelligence only too willing to expand us. But we have to get out of the way for that to happen. And the way we get out of the way is through spiritual practice. It is through meditation. It is through living in the now moment. So that the mind is no longer conjecturing over and over and over again how to make life work better for the future and fix things and make things better for me and what I need and what my family needs and what the world needs. I know, and on and on and on. This is just conjecture. It is ego-centered projection. And all that is going on, you perceive as the world being the problem. Conditions and circumstances coming to you are causing you to have these difficulties, these fears, and these conditions. So, take a moment now to know there is a huge move when this divine awareness starts to come in to one's consciousness. It means you may have been practicing and practicing and practicing, but at some point, because of your devotion only, having nothing to do with your keen understanding of how to practice, but your devotion, your desire for the light of the living intelligence of life, that is what opens you up and brings the light in to begin to purify your consciousness and your life. Thus we have our purpose and our destiny. God's will, you might say, or if you want to, you can say the omnipresent intelligence of life. Its purpose is for us to heal our outlook on life by healing our inlook. Healing our outlook on life requires healing our inlook. And so this is where personal transformation occurs. On the inner side, allowing this divine light intelligence to start to reveal to us where we're missing the mark, missing the understanding of life. Here's Eckhart Tolle's a clear understanding of the mind's dilemma and the solution. Here's Eckhart Tolle's clear understanding of the mind's dilemma and the solution, which he calls salvation. This is from his classic book, The Power of Now, page 50, paragraphs 3 and 4. All negativity is caused by an accumulation of psychological time and the denial of the present. Unease, anxiety, tension, stress, worry, all forms of fear are caused by too much future and not enough presence. Guilt, regret, resentment, grievances, sadness, bitterness, and all forms of non-forgiveness are caused by too much past and not enough presence. Most people find it difficult to believe that a state of consciousness totally free of negativity is possible. And yet, this is the liberated state to which all spiritual teachings point. It is the promise of salvation, not in an illusory fashion, not in the illusory future, but right here and now. So you see, we are receptacles from the time we're born to take in the thinking of the world. Much of it is so negative, so conflict-oriented, so fear-driven, that we take it in and believe it. And we become those that are propagating it, projecting it. We're involved in the conflict. We're involved in creating the fear. We're involved in the limited thinking of the world. But then, at some point, our frustration at trying to make life work, becomes too much to bear. And then we may try something new. Then we may maybe come upon a spiritual book, or somebody tells us or invites us to unity, or something like that. So when the student is ready, the teacher suddenly appears. So when you're ready and open, then the holy awareness can start to come in. And the holy awareness will use whatever teachers, whatever books, whatever things it needs to begin to purify your mind, in which you believed yourself to always be an objective observer, clearly able to objectively observe life, and nothing could be more incorrect. So, again, the important aspect of our spiritual journey is the desire to enter into this relationship with God, which opens us up as kind of a surrender along the way, a surrender to the awareness that we don't know. We simply don't have the wisdom to know what to do, what is correct, what will work, what will heal. So we flounder around out there trying all these different things, but when we surrender piece by piece, we allow this divine intelligence to come in and open our minds to the reality of the presence in every person, in every place, in every condition. You can see with that, forgiveness is automatic. There's no condemnation. There's no fear. There's no ego-centered self trying to gain something from the future over and over again. There is simply the willingness to give our attention to what is taking place. And our minds open up to recognize the beauty of peace and sharing and compassion and love, looking past the seeming mistakes and foibles that we always used to take issue with. We let it go. We let it all go. Our meditation is teaching us to be free of all that. And as we do that, we start to see how life blesses us, because we become willing to bless. How life forgives us, because we've become willing to forgive. How life loves us and prospers us, because we've become willing to love and give and serve. And that's because that is the will of life. That's the will of God for the purification of the minds of human beings. Tonight we're going to share in the meditation together, listening to the bowls. We don't have to do a lot. As I said, it's the holy divine awareness that we're seeking to enter in and make whatever changes are necessary within our awareness. So we just listen to these beautiful bowls and become willing to be sitting here and giving our attention to the moment. No more thinking and incessant thinking. And then when we get to that place of silence, if you don't have a particular meditation technique, you can use this affirmation type idea. Everything I look upon, everything I see, is only God waiting for me. Everything I look upon, everything I see, is only God waiting for me to just bless, serve, give, care, have compassion, have peace, bestow peace. Take a few moments to pray for those whose names have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, let's recall that we are all connected on this higher level of spirit. So we only have to say the word. And the word tonight that we'll say with each name that is given is peace. Peace.
Millicardi, Sharon Paz, Lloyd Paz and family, Susan Evans, Chrissy Woods, Bo Woods, Nalina Woods, Gloria Crockett, Donna Sparks, Sandy Spahn, Diane and Michael, Michael Nucky, Betty Barford, Gail Wagoner, Curtis Johnson, Sally Eddy and her mother, Joe Gutman, Jim Reeves, Dute Chappelle, Carrie Woolman, John and Pat and family, Heslora, Molly Brown, Tamula, Karen Kren, Timbercore and family, FedEx family, Dennis Drake, the frontline workers of COVID, the COVID patients, Daniel Rivard, Del Bigtree and family, Steve Taylor, Kate Beltrami, Sandy C., Sherry Jacobson, Sam, Peter, Lori and Craig Martell, Katya Learman, Craig Martin, Kai V., Stacy, Doug Peterson, Judy McMillan, M.K. Smith and family, the United States government, a peaceful inauguration, the earth, air, water, all life on planet Earth. And you can call out a name at this time if you would like to.
Daniel.
We see this prayer box surrounded by healing light, and all the names that have been submitted, we see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us allow our vision to expand and recognize everyone sharing this Boulder community with us, coming into this divine peace and joy of insight and love. And let our vision expand to include everyone sharing the state of Colorado with us, coming into this divine wisdom, peace, and love. And let our vision continue to expand, to take in everyone sharing these United States of America with us, bringing forth that wisdom, divine wisdom, peace, and love. And so it goes with every human being on planet Earth, opening up to the realization of their divinity and that wisdom coming forth that heals the minds of people, and establishing the harmony in all relationships, establishing the harmony with all creatures, all marine life, all of the trees and the mountains and the waterways and the minerals of the earth, all being restored to wisdom of life, divine light, wisdom, and peace. As we pray, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and God is love. To this we say, Amen. We'll take an offering for unity now in our COVID-19 fashion, bringing to mind that financial gift we'd like to make to Unity of Boulder. Those of you on screen, if you don't have the option there, can go to unityofboulder.com, and there are several ways that you can give your offering. But now let us all bring to mind that financial gift, and let's bless it with this affirmative prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Thank you for joining in tonight. Take this beautiful feeling of oneness with you into your life in every place and share it. To everyone, good night.